This is going to be for the dish that I'm about to make right now.
Wow.
Now look at that insanity.
Looks like a cider.
A mead or an ale or a cider. And if Axel Bronson were here, he would lie down on the table and lick our legs just to have a sip of this. Hey, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much.
This show is called Moltissimo. Your names are Kyle and Beck. My name is Mario Batali. We are lounging here at the Munchies Kitchen at Groovy Headquarters, Brooklyn, at Vice. All right, so I'm gonna make 2 dishes today. Tortelli of potato with chives and brown butter and sage, and anatra in porchetta, or duck, like a pig. Our first thing is a toast. This is chin chin.
Chin chin. Chin.
It is an Aperol Spritz.
Cheers.
No, chin chin.
So it's delicious. It's not very strong. It's Aperol, which is almost like a Campari Cognate. It's made orange and red by guess what?
Soda water.
So, yeah, orange.
No?
Cherries.
Cochineal.
Cochineal.
Yeah?
I was gonna.
It's the
we know what that
legs
is.
of beetles.
No,
The apothecary, as used in the apothecary of Florence in the 13th, 14th, and 15th centuries.
Right.
Wow.
So if you were really a vegan, you couldn't have one of these because there's a tiny little bit of protein in there. It's great because you can drink 10 or 15 of them. Really no problem.
Yeah, great. I'll have 10 or 15. Perfect.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a duck breast. And we're gonna take some sausage. I've taken some pancetta. We've rendered it first, then we cook some of this Italian fennel seed sausage. We cook it around like that. We take a little bit of rosemary, not too much. One of the big things about cooking Italian food is that balance is crucial. So whenever you think abbondanza, lots and lots of everything, not necessarily right. What you really want to taste is the delicate balance and harmony of all of the ingredients together. So we'll get all that going, and then I'm gonna take some chopped duck livers that come inside the duck.
Yes.
All right, how many times have you prepared this specific dish before?
This I invented for you.
Get out of here.
Really?
I kind of thought about this. I thought about you guys. I thought about your humor. I thought about everything that I love about you. And we're going to make this in real time. All right, so now I have something called panko breadcrumbs.
Right.
And what you do is you take it like this. I soak them in a little milk. And what mixing them with the milk does is it enhances the dairy, the lactic love that goes into here. It also makes it more tender. So by the time it sets inside the duck and you slice across it almost like a sausage reformed, because the bread's in there, each of the pieces isn't more like you're eating meat. It's more like you're eating something that's lighter and looser. I'm going to take a little handful of salt.
Why don't you ever make this for me, Beck?
Well, I was waiting
Because
to
it's
figure
just being invented right now.
I told you I had to wait until I copied
Mario.
All right, let's go back to the very beginning.
Okay, I'm Kyle. I went to high school in San Diego, then I went to college at USC where I studied film. The only important anecdote I could tell about myself is when I was in 3rd grade, I lost my tooth, and I thought that maybe the tooth fairy didn't exist anymore, so in a way to prove that the tooth fairy didn't exist, instead of putting the tooth underneath the pillow, I put it inside my ear. And I became very nervous, and then I told my parents, and I got driven down to the emergency room. And
Well, you stuck it way in there.
I was very
Stuck
stuck.
away in there, yeah.
My father really struggled to get it out, and then we sit in with the doctor, and he very simply uses a pair of tweezers to just pluck it out. It was a matter of moments.
All right. So that's when you realized that there wasn't a tooth fairy?
Yeah. Is that sufficient for my biography? Because
That's great.
Because so much of my life has been with Beck Bennett, so I feel like he should go.
All right. Go on.
Yeah.
So I'm from Wilmette, Illinois, just north of Chicago. Sort of John Hughes land, all those movies that were made
Pretty
there.
in Pink.
Uncle Buck.
Let's talk about greatness, Uncle Buck. All right.
You just get to name movies?
I'm just talking about movies. Yeah, I was raised in that world. I was raised in those movies. When
We both arrived at USC in the fall of 2003, and we auditioned for the comedy group on campus.
called Cometus Interruptus.
And then when we got out, it was kind of a period in time when a lot of comedy groups started putting videos on the internet. Like there was The Lonely Island.
And then Human Giant.
Human Giant, Tim and Eric, a lot of people like that. Yeah, not too long after that, we auditioned for Saturday Night Live and both got on, and now we've been hanging out
But
together.
how arduous was that? And before I say that, let me recap where we're at in the kitchen. So I've taken that duck breast, I made the filling, I opened it up, I put it in, I tied it with 3 strings, and now I'm browning it. What I'm trying to do is render a little bit of fat from that kind of thick duck skin. very much like a pork skin when you've had porchetta. That's you guys. You're on the show now. Does everything change? Do the heavenly gates open?
Just because you're on the show doesn't mean you're going to get stuff on the show, get your material on the show.
Because, like, writing an internet video for our audience is very different than doing, like, a live sketch for an SNL audience.
Yeah.
It's also, like, we have to be somewhat fit for the show. So, like, I don't know if I'm going to be having a meal after this shoot.
The idea would be that you're going to take home all the leftovers and you don't have to eat a meal all
We
week.
can take the leftovers?
Oh, dude, I'm making this for you.
Let's go.
I mean, the show is super exciting and really
Right.
fun, but it's super stressful.
That leads you into a career of complete success and total
Yeah.
Yeah.
drugs and, you know, heart attacks and all that,
Just the
right?
best thing in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love doing drugs.
There you go. So you're on the right show. If you could open this white wine for me.
Oh, damn, Beck.
Yeah, okay, all right. I know how to
We'll
do
get this beautiful white wine, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw just a little bit in this pan because I want what's happening there, that what's called the fondo, the base, where it's starting to stick and become caramelized. I want to make sure that that's loose enough that I can come up and kind of make it into the contorno, which is the vegetable-y thing at the base of it that's going to happen.
What temperature are you cooking this at right now?
I'm going to cook it on infernally high. 745 Fahrenheit, my friend. That's a blast.
Do you
oven.
get nervous at all?
Around heat?
Yeah.
No. Heat is your friend. As long as you don't allow heat to hurt you. Dude, look at that crazy This wine is unbelievable. No, what you have to know is how to control heat, how to stop heat from being in you or on you, and don't be afraid to use tongs and like get out of the way of heat.
Don't use your fingers.
No, I use my fingers all the time,
Yeah.
but that's because I practice. Like I just burnt it a little bit there, but that doesn't bother me. I just go
No
like
big deal.
this and smell a little weird, you know, kind of like this. That
I
moves,
just burn my
right?
hair and I smell my
Right,
burnt hair. It's like I do it all the time.
Now look at this.
Oh, God. Kyle. Kyle.
I know.
Look at the dog in the style of pig. Hang
on, dude.
No.
All right, so duck's in the oven. So now, we're gonna make tortelli of potato with chives and brown butter and sage. So while we're kind of getting ready, this is gonna be for the dish that I'm about to make right now.
Oh, wow.
Now
It's a
look at that
brown.
insanity.
Looks like a cider.
a mead or an ale or
Yeah.
a cider. And if Axel Bronson were here, he would lie down on the table and lick our legs just to have a sip of this.
Oh, wow. Great. I would love
Wow,
that.
it's insanity. So now, I've got some potatoes. Some of the Italian culture's greatest food is based on poverty. A lot of the pastas are based on having a wealth of, say, cheese or meat or prosciutto. This is one based kind of on the fact that they kind of didn't have very much left. So they have these potatoes, which if you taste them right now, taste them.
Taste them? Just get in there with my fingers?
Just get in there with your fingers.
Get in there with your fingers.
I never do this. I'm nervous.
Don't be worried, the potatoes won't bite and they're not hot enough to burn. But they'll taste okay because I haven't seasoned them.
I could eat just that.
Right, exactly. Like, that's the right thing. We're gonna season them with chives,
Chives.
nutmeg, a little Parmigiano Reggiano.
Did it take practice to be able to, like, narrate while you prepare this stuff?
You know, I started on the Food Network back in 1995 with a show called Molto Mario. And basically, the lady that was the producer didn't give me a lot of direction. By the time I'd cut the onion 3 times, I realized, what am I gonna say? Here's how you cut the onion the 3 times? So I just started talking about the history or the perspective or the geography of the dish, and it started to come out kind of naturally. Now, of course, I've always been a slightly chatty fella, but I mean, it wasn't like I was, exactly. But it wasn't like I was prepared for that. It was more like I was filling the time.
Do you ever feel like you've failed with the dish? I mean, is there experimentation like
That's
this?
a good question. And at the end of the day, it may not come out like I wanted it to, and I imagine this might be similar in a comedy sketch. Like, this is how you saw it, and it kind of took a turn that you didn't expect, and it's not looking like what you thought it might look like, but by the end of the time, you're like, but that's still good. Let me see if I can salvage this. Does that happen?
Oh, yeah. We'll, like, do sketches that go to dress rehearsal, but get
sometimes-
cut, and then you figure out changing a role or changing
But there
some
are
different things.
there
and
are
make it,
times
like,
when
really
it's
pop.
like people. I like this. I like the thought behind it, the idea, the joke behind it, but nobody else is into it. Like there are times
Right.
when you just have to completely.
And you just say, you know what, we're gonna cut this thing. It's
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
gonna make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now here's what we always do. We have to taste ravioli filling before we eat it. So that's potatoes,
Want me to go first?
quite a bit of olive oil, chives, nutmeg, the undisputed king of cheeses, Parmigiano Reggiano.
Oh, it's so good.
That's so good.
Fantastic. So let's see. So then we're gonna make them like this. I want like tortelli, right?
I love rectangles.
Rectangles are
Big
fantastic.
rectangle ravioli.
All right.
You're on the chew.
I'm on the chew. All right, so you've seen that, but you haven't seen like the original show, which is called Moltissimo.
I haven't seen the original show.
And it was like me in a little kitchen with 3 or 4 famous people like yourselves sitting around talking about the food. But in those days, I didn't really let anybody talk. I was kind of like a circular breathing jazz singer. So they would like try to say something, and the crew was always like, go ahead, ask him a question. Like, we don't even know what to say.
There's no entry point.
They would say, well, ask him if you can use a yellow tomato instead of an orange tomato. And I'd be like, yeah, knucklehead, what kind of a question is that?
If you don't want us to talk, by the way, we don't need
No, we like you to talk. This show is much more about the interaction between us. So I want you guys to make one of these with me.
Okay,
So
you're
here's what
doing
you
a
do.
straight fold here, corner to corner?
Go straight fold, straight corner to corner. Then what's most important about that is going down the edge. And if it comes out, don't worry, just squeeze it out, push it out like that. But that these walls become fused forever. Because a ravioli that opens up is no longer ravioli. It's a floating rag in the water, and that sucks. So then you go like this and bring it around.
I missed that part.
And then you've made something kind of like a mitre, which is the Pope or the Bishop's hat, right? You get it around?
Mario, is that good?
That's fantastic. Ooh, I love the new pinch.
Yeah,
the
that's a new
Mooney
pinch. You got
pinch,
the
man.
Mooney
That's
pinch
a
going.
ride, baby.
No, it's nothing.
It's
the Mooney pinch.
The Mooney pinch. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
I
bon
like
appetit.
that.
And that's different, Beck.
That's different and functional.
Wait, this one's different?
But they're both different. You guys are creative
Mine's
artists.
different too, right?
That's right, man. I got difference. I got difference.
Look at what I'm about to do here.
So the pasta, you season with about 3 tablespoons of salt per gallon of water. That is to the salinity of what?
Don't know that. I don't know the answer.
The sea.
The salinity?
Of the sea. The saltiness of seawater is what you cook your pasta in. Which, remarkably enough, to those of you who may or may not know, is the salinity of your blood. I'm dancing like Catwoman and Batman right now, aren't I? The Mooney Pinch in its world debut. We take a bite of the food first, then we take a sip of the wine, and then say whatever you're thinking about.
Molto bene.
Molto bene. No, gastronomic supremacy. I'm cooking tortelli of potato with chives and brown butter and sage. Now, we made this pasta earlier. So then we're just gonna make the sauce. Now, the sauce on something that you don't want to challenge too much the actual flavor of the ravioli. Now, one of the things about cooking pasta, if it fails, you just get rid of it.
Starting over on
Don't
this.
worry, look, I have a whole plate.
Wait, our raviolis stink.
So what could you expect?
I don't know. I thought you made me feel so good.
I think what you're gonna see by the time that they're done, that you're not even gonna be able to tell.
Yeah, you taught him something new. You taught him the Mooney pinch.
That's right, the Mooney Pinch. I'm not gonna forget that quickly, my friend.
Stop it.
Here's your first class in wine tasting.
Oh boy, this is gonna be embarrassing.
What does it taste like without trying to think wine term? So taste it again. Ready?
I think a little grapefruity.
Grapefruit. Good, 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 good. What
I
else?
said that so quietly. Like I was
I know
so
you were very worried that you might not get it right.
Tastes a little
There's no wrong. So what's your first thought?
I'm trying so hard.
Don't try hard. Say first thing.
Say macaroni.
Like let it just go in.
Come on. I feel like the word I want to use is so offensive.
Say it.
Vinegary?
I knew you were gonna say douche. You meant douche, didn't you?
It tastes like a douche.
It tastes like a douchebag, man. I'm sorry. No, and you're right. It's almost a little sour. It's a little fermented. It's almost a little like it sat in the sun a little too long. They're kind of very much an expression of the terroir. And people drop this word terroir all the time, which means just the dirt that they happen to grow in.
Yeah.
But when you taste a bunch of fancy, silly wines, what really makes you happy is tasting wine that just tastes like that hill over there. So now here's what I've done. I've taken that butter and I see how it's gotten brown, and it started out making noise and now it's no longer making noise. That's because it's called beurre noisette in French, which means brown butter. The sage starts to get a little crisp, and what I do is I stop. This is when you step away with your expensive couture fleece vests and you throw it in like that. All right, so now we're at 212 because the butter is rendered to the temperature of the liquid.
Very pretty, Mario.
Isn't it? We throw them in like that. And see, like that fancy chef, senors, they look all exactly great. You go like that. You take a little bit more of the undisputed king of cheeses.
Oh my gosh.
I want it. Now, you mentioned your fleece.
Yeah.
This is your look. The fleece, cargo shorts, and the Crocs, right?
Yep.
How did this,
And like
how
one
did
of
this
these
come
shirts.
about? And one of these shirts.
You know, they were talking to me about wardrobe at a TV show. And I'm like, I really only wear one thing. And they're like, great, that makes it really easy.
It's a sign
and
of
it
change.
occurred to me that night, yes, there are a lot of things in my life I could make a lot easier. Let's start with the wardrobe. Then I look back at some of the greats. Albert Einstein.
Uniform.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs,
Yeah.
classic.
Louis C.K.
Sadly, they're all trying to deal with how to manage whatever their tricky stuff is. Look, there's the one with the Mooney pinch. Come on, you gotta go in. The Mooney pinch in its world debut. So we put just a little bit of that buttery sauce, and we're gonna taste it. And what you're gonna find is that there's going to be a transformation of that crazy wine in your mouth with the addition of this butter.
Yeah, more Reggiano.
Yeah.
I love Reggie.
Because what you want, exactly.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So we take a bite of the food first, then we take a sip of the wine, and then without anybody trying to coax anything out of anybody, say whatever you're thinking about.
What cheese did you put in the potatoes?
Parm, again, but it was already grated, so it's a little drier, so it's a little more powerful.
That's like surprising to me, the cheesiness of the potato and how it goes with this.
Right. And one of the big things about Italian pasta is the sauce is really the condiment, and they call it condimento, just like we refer to a condiment like on a hot dog. The hot dog and the bun are the thing. The stripe of mustard is there, but it should never be more than the hot dog or the bun. So when people ask for extra sauce, I'm like, shut the up, mother. You can't have it that way. Do it like the Italians. Come on, Mooney, what do you got?
The thing is, for me, what I feel, it's just very good. I can't, that's how I would describe it. It's like, it's hard for me to think in terms of like, this reminds me of this or that. It's like, oh, I know I want to keep on eating this. It tastes so good.
So that's all I need. I think the word you're looking for is
Molto bene.
molto bene. No, gastronomic supremacy.
Yes, that's what I understand.
But this tastes like a great vest on you.
This tastes like
Right?
rocks and a vest.
Now look at that beautiful, medium rare, tender deliciousness. And had I used a whole duck, I would have had to sacrifice all of that breast's magnificence. And we do not ever want to sacrifice breast magnificence.
Oh, no.
Wait, there's a double entendre.
Now, at this point, you're gonna open this one.
You got
Like
this.
it's an
You got
easy.
this.
You're good. You're good. You're good. Show them how. Now look at this.
Oh, God. Kyle.
I know, I'm
Look at the duck in the style of pig.
Hang on, dude.
No.
All right, you're good. You're good. Hold on. Let me show you. Because you're here. Now look what you do.
I don't want to do this.
See how they have that little piece there, that little step ladder?
Oh, yeah, I saw the piece.
Right? And you go like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ta-da.
Well, if you actually let me
Nicely
do it.
removed. You were on the money. Now, the trick with roasts is you want to allow them to sit and rest for a few minutes, right? Now, what you'll notice when you're looking for spectrum of flavor, there's the muted base cooked low end, which is kind of like the bass notes. Boom, 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 boom,
Right.
boom, boom, boom. Then what you do is you take those same vegetables and you serve them at the end on top of the dish with just a squeeze of lemon like so, a touch of that fennel pollen to really accentuate it, then a little bit of salt, a touch of chilies. And this becomes kind of like the salad that defines how the rest of that meat's gonna taste, because you're gonna capture both of those ends. You're gonna see both
complement
sides of the spectrum while you're going. Now look at that. We've got a little bit of that kind of pink, weird wine in there. This
Got all
becomes
those flavors.
the basso profundo. Now look at that. That's probably 125, 135 internal. That is exactly where you want this dish. And the only reason you can succeed at that is because you cooked the filling in advance. So you get that beautiful, medium rare, tender deliciousness of duck. Its rich gaminess, but without it being dried out. And had I used a whole duck to get it cooked all the way through inside, I would have had to sacrifice all of that breast's magnificence. And we do not ever in life want to sacrifice breast magnificence.
Wait, there's a double entendre.
There's a slight double entendre to some of the things I say. Now, one of the things that I really like for sauce is a little drizzle of nice extra virgin olive oil.
Ooh.
I'm just like mesmerized by this right now.
Take this.
Oh, my gosh.
This is a wine made by Paolo Bea in Umbria. This dish is from Umbria. What you want to do is take a big smell of that. Oh, that smells like you're in an Italian restaurant in Italy, doesn't it?
So good. You like that?
Oh, my.
Oh, my, oh, my, oh, my.
Oh, wait till you taste it.
Oh, my God. That's incredible.
Score.
Drop fork, walk away. And this wine pairing? This wine is so going with this.
Yeah.
It is sweet, it is rich, it is unctuous, it's almost a little smoky.
The inside, the filling is like got this like sort of sweet, like salty, like
Right.
caramel's not the right word, but I
That's
think
your right way. It's kind of that almost burnt sugar feel, and that's what I get from kind of that fennel pollen working on it.
And this complements it
Right.
so well. Do you have a guilt food?
No, I have no guilt. I have zero. I killed my conscience when I was 15. But like, you know, like for me, that kind of thing would be either like a whole bag of Doritos,
Yeah.
you know, right? Or, you know,
I'm a big
I
fan
have
of
a
Doritos.
pint of, right, but Doritos, it has to be Doritos.
Yeah, Doritos is my
Right,
go-to.
because they have the over-effusive salt use. Like, it's aggressively.
And people are like, "You like
painful."
Doritos?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Like I grew up loving Doritos.
Nacho cheese.
No, I like the jacked. Now, let me ask you this.
So good.
When you work on a performance and you perform it in front of somebody and you know it's good and they know it's good, does it feel like this? Because this is my success moment. Like, I never made this dish before, and I'm pretty damn sure they gotta like it.
You can feel it, though.
You know when it hits it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the energy is different. When I eat something really good, I kind of just go like, oh. It like relaxes me almost.
Right, sometimes it's not so effusive, right?
Yeah, and sometimes I think when something connects, it's just kind of like a huge relief. I mean,
I think when performing, there are times when I feel like I've done a sufficient enough job, but there are those, you can take it to another level where it's like, oh, there is this full-on connect, like we spoke to each other, we experienced something unique together.
Right. We shared.
And you did it.
Chin chin, mother.
Chin chin, mother.
Hey, girls.
It's great.
They're still shooting. I like the sound, though.
Great
It's the ice
sound.
machine? Oh, it's the ice machine. What can we do? Not them. They're not doing anything, those girls. They're sitting back there playing checkers.
You guys making ice over there?
They're ice makers.
You thought this would be a good time to make ice? Oh,
Ice. Who needs ice?
we're eating this beautiful meal?
All right, that's it. We're good. We got that.
all right.
Great job, guys.
Oh.